the next week. Once for the church, once for Greg.
I plowed right through Jen Mitchell's
Wide
garage door,
receivers, we
got out of the
did
car
that.
and walked home.
Everyone's done this but me?
Drove right through it. She goes, back the car up, I plowed right through the door into the garage.
Citizens like Nick Wright.
Sticking with the Steelers, who are tied with the Patriots right now atop the AFC at 6-2. Both teams coming off a bye. Both teams primed to be there in January. And Roethlisberger was asked about a potential showdown with New England. Take a listen, guys.
People are fixated on because they're the champs. When you do that and you have the title, you should be looked up at. And they deserve it. You obviously pay attention to what other people in the AFC are doing. So, yeah, you know what's going on. The nice thing is we have to worry about us. You know, we'll worry about New England when we play New England. We'll let the other teams have to play them until we play and worry about them.
Well, sure, but they're worried about New England, too. They are always worried about where the Patriots are, when they play them, where they're both going to be when they play them. But all that being said, Greg, should the Steelers be the favorites in the AFC? Would you consider them the favorites in the AFC right now?
You can't. There's no way. There's absolutely no way. There's no way.
This is going to be fun.
This is when, again, the big brother effect. But this is a team in New England who does it year after year after year, and everybody every single year puts the target on their back, and they end up somehow finding a way to place the target on you, and they shoot you down every time. This is a team that it doesn't matter who comes to them. Yes, they may have some losses that we feel like, man, New England looks a little different. Well, a bad season for New England is like a 2-game, 3, 4-game losing season, and that we're like, man, New England, they're losing it. The Pittsburgh Steelers have better players on their team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's something about that. Again, I talked about it with Sean McVay. When you have that quarterback, and even beyond that coach, that head coach, there is a psyche there when it comes to Bill Belichick, to where the players, they believe one thing. But when you have a coach and you have your coaching staff believing that we're going to out-coach you, that's a psyche that you can't overcome sometimes as players, and you get out-schemed, and you get out-performed, and you get out-coached. And that's what the New England Patriots do to the Pittsburgh Steelers every time they play them.
The Steelers are better than the Pats. Like, if we're talking about actual what they've done on the field this year, who their personnel is, how they've looked, the Steelers check all those boxes as better. The only reason people would be saying New England's better is exactly what you're saying, the history of it. But the history of it is slightly overblown in this regard. In the last 12 years, they've played in the playoffs once. Like, it's not like the Steelers have this long history of getting to the postseason, having New England knock them out. That was last year.
How many times they play in the regular season?
The regular season?
Because those games count, too.
Right.
I understand that. So if you want to go back, so call it since 2005, right, the last 12 seasons, which is what I'd mentioned.
Right.
New England is 6-1. Brady versus Big Ben.
And you know the reason why they haven't played a lot in the playoffs?
Why?
Because Pittsburgh lost before they could get to New England.
That's fair. There's also been a year, 2 years that's happened to New England. But yes, in general, Pittsburgh's been the team that's lost early.
I have a question for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. You say there's 3 teams in the AFC that are the favorites. New England, Pittsburgh, Kansas City. Forget the question to Ben. Are you concerned about New England? I got a question for you. Who do you think the Steelers want to play? New England or Kansas City?
Kansas City.
Without a doubt.
Oh, okay.
Without a doubt.
Kansas City.
Okay.
And Kansas City wants to play New England instead of Pittsburgh. And New England wants to play Pittsburgh instead of Kansas City. Like, it's that triangle. We've seen it. Over the last few years, Kansas City's had a lot of success against New England.
Yes.
New England's had a lot of success against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's had a lot of success against Kansas City. But there is one key difference about this Steelers team. And it's not just that all of a sudden they've got one of the 10 best defenses in football. It's not just all of a sudden that those first-round picks they spent 5 straight years on the defense side of the ball are paying dividends. Pittsburgh's nickname, Blitzburg, for years and years and years, right? The one thing you can't do against Tom Brady is blitz him. This is something I could not believe. I saw it before the year headed into this season.
Yep.
Over the last 10 years, Tom Brady, when facing 6 or more rushers, meaning being blitzed, 90 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Don't blitz this man.
That is unbelievable.
That's unbelievable, right? And the only reason I can only go back 10 years is that's as far as the stats go.
Right.
Steelers, the only team in football with 5 guys with at least 3 sacks. Why does that matter? You got 5 different guys that can come off the edge and get you without having to send a blitz. If you don't have to send a blitz, you can this New England team can get got. And the Steelers offense hasn't even, to me, rounded totally into form. I think they're clearly the best team.
Well, Greg, so you can know all of that. You can read all of those numbers. You can match these guys up numerically up and down. The concept of, well, this team's got your number. How much weight does that hold in the NFL? Because the Patriots, they've got their number.
It holds a lot. You may, as a player playing in the game,
when
you
you're
don't
on
want
the losing end. Oh, it don't matter.
It don't matter.
Oh, it don't matter. That was the other team. This is a different team.
It matters.
But when you've been dominating someone, it matters.
Because you know, even as a player, when you ask the Detroit Lions, does it matter them going to Lambeau and getting that win, even with Aaron Rodgers not dressing Monday night? It matters.
Yes, because they went through a span of 25 years.
Absolutely.
They only won there one time.
It's a psyche. It's a mental. You hear in sports people talk about it's more mental than it is physical. Mm-hmm. Sometimes this is when the mental outweighs clearly the physical.
Okay.
When you mentally have to overcome what the past is, even if you haven't even been involved in it, you have to take it for what it is. And when it comes to Pittsburgh and New England has their number. Whether we're talking regular season or the playoffs, and they've proven to be able to get it done when it matters. The one thing I will say really quick, I love Ben's mindset right now.
Yes.
A couple weeks back, he didn't know who he was.
I don't know if I want to play. I don't know if I want to play football.
He has real confidence about himself right now.
What happens when you are able to dominate a team, it gives you confidence whether you're playing good or bad. So if you get behind in the game, and you've dominated the team, you have the confidence within you over that, man, we're going to come back. Man, you make a play, I'll make a play, we're going to come back. So you have that going into the game, and it's real. Kansas City doesn't have that against Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh does not have that against New England.
All right, Greg, as always, well dressed.
Thank you.
Put something, in the offering plate before
all good.
And pray for him.
Coming up, should Andrew Luck be furious with the Colts? That is next on First Things First.
Look, Benny Hinnam.